Let's talk about standards. And you'll notice I'm going to start this off and I'll point out something out here. A lot of people get really butthurt. They're hurt. Oh man, they get really upset because they can't meet the standards. And the reality is here. Let's just start this off with the most obvious statement ever. Standards for whom? Like, why are you upset by standards? Maybe they don't even fucking apply to you. So, there we go. I said fuck in the first minute. Now, YouTube's going to demote my video or whatever. Here's the point. Like, I do this to get views. Let's say, Dan Johns talked about this one. The 3-4-5, right? If you want to play D1 or pro football, you need to be able to power clean at least 300 pounds. There's your 3. 4, you need to bench at least 400 pounds. And 5, you need to squat 500 pounds. Oh, that upsets you. You can't meet this standard. That's an unreasonable standard. I can't do it. And people complain. Look at the comment section. People fucking complain. And it's like, what, you can't power clean 300, bench 400, and squat 500? Well, are you even big enough to play D1 or pro football? Oh, you're not. So maybe that standard doesn't apply to you. Like, look at me. I'm 5'9", verified now, because I went to Mayo Clinic and they measured the shit out of me. I'm like 5'9.66" or something like that. I'm 69.66 or something. Anyways, can't believe that. I thought all these years that I was probably actually shorter than 5'9". But anyways, point being, right, I'm 5'9" and 165 pounds. Can you imagine if I could power clean 300? That'd be amazing. Holy shit. But I'm also not big enough to play pro football. So that standard doesn't apply to me. You can't sit there and be like, oh, that's an unreasonable standard because I can't meet it. Well, fuck, you're not big enough to play pro football either. So, I don't see, unless maybe there's a kicker out there that I'm unaware of, but outside of maybe a kicker, okay, I'm unaware of anyone that weighs 165 pounds playing in the NFL. So if you want to play, linebacker or whatever in the NFL, you want to be a running back, yeah, you should probably be able to squat 500 pounds. You probably weigh 250, 260 at least. I mean, these running backs are getting huge. And then if you want to play lineman, now you're talking guys who are well over 300 pounds. This might be something for you to think about. And of course, this doesn't apply to wide receivers. Why would it apply to a wide receiver? Maybe he's, 6 foot and 185 pounds, but he's super fucking fast. Who's he going to hit? He's a wide receiver. He's supposed to catch a ball. Run real fast, catch the ball. You don't apply this standard to every position either. That's the point. So when we talk about standards, the very first question you have to ask yourself is, for whom? Let that sink in. You're an NBA basketball player, and there's a standard out there that says you should be able to squat at least double body weight. For whom? Football players? Yes. If you play football, you should probably be able to squat double body weight. That's a very violent contact sport. Hockey, you should be able to squat double body weight. NBA, motherfucker, you are 7 feet tall. Your legs are extremely long. You are very skinny. You're a beanpole. You don't need to squat double body weight, okay? So people get upset about these standards, and I find it almost laughable when people get upset about standards. For years, I've heard that a 5:30 mile is a very standard mile, and people get upset about that. I tell that to people, 5:30 is a very standard mile. And people are like, oh, I can't do it. Are you a runner? Oh, you're not. Then what the fuck does that have to do with you? Oh, you compete in strongman and you can't run a 5:30 mile. But you can carry an 800-pound yoke. Well, maybe this standard doesn't apply to you because you're not a miler. If I told you that, you should be able to run the 400 in under a minute, and then you're like, but I can't do that because, I'm a power lifter and I squat 600 pounds. Well, that applies to fucking 400-meter runners. It doesn't apply to powerlifters. If you tell me that you're a super heavy and you have a 2,000-pound total, I assume, and I could be wrong here, that it's not your goal to run the 400 meters. You know, you'll notice something very interesting about some of these things when you look at, say, mile times, for example. No one over 200 pounds has ever run a 4-minute mile. Not even close. And then if you look at the ages, you look at masters, track and field and stuff like that, you'll notice that by the time people are over 40, no one's running a 4-minute mile. So you're 39 and you're upset because you can't hit a standard that is set for, what, D1 college athletes who are between the ages of 18 and 22. That's what you're going to compare yourself to. Standards are standards, and standards are good. I think that the standards are correct. You should be able to do X, whatever it is. But then you as an individual have to look at that and evaluate, where are you at in life? Are you 22? Are you trying to play D1 sports? Are you trying to run the 400 meters at the D1 level? Or are you, I don't know, maybe 40 years old and you're just trying to stay in shape? Like, you can't compare yourself to these things. I would tell you right now, if you want to be an Olympic weightlifter, you need to snatch double body weight. Yeah, that's a standard. I mean, I can't imagine not snatching double body weight. If you're an Olympic weightlifter, that's a bare minimum. ... That's a bare minimum for you to be competitive at the fucking Olympics. That's it. You can't debate that either. Like, it's very clear. I mean, unless you're in the super heavy class, don't get me wrong. But for the rest of the guys, okay, if you're competing in the 60s, 70s, or 80s, kilos, that's your body weight, yeah, you're going to need to snatch around double body weight to be competitive. If you don't, you're not going to make that up with a big clean and jerk. It's just not going to happen. So if you want to be competitive, if you want to go to the Olympics and you want a medal, that's the level that you need to be at. Now, you do CrossFit. Well, you don't fucking need to snatch double body weight to be competitive in CrossFit. It's a completely different sport. You see, and it's no different than even the standards in CrossFit. Okay, you look at these numbers and it's like, well, the guys in the top, can squat 500 pounds. Okay, that's the standard. You want to go to the games, you want to be competitive, you need to squat 500 pounds. You just want to go to the local CrossFit gym and do the workout and do well at it? No, you probably don't need to squat 500 pounds unless you're training at, like, I don't know, CrossFit Invictus or some shit where everyone's fucking amazing. CrossFit Mayhem. You don't need to be squatting 500 pounds to compete at the local CrossFit gym in Duluth, Minnesota. Not even the local CrossFit gym in Pittsburgh, PA. You'll be good. If you squat 405, you're already in the top 1%. This is the deal with standards. And so, recently there was this big hubbub. Everyone's upset. Greg Haff, don't know how to pronounce his last name, tweeted something about a double body weight back squat, and people got all butthurt. And I assume that the people who are all hurt can't squat double body weight, which is not an unreasonable standard. If you lift weights, you should be able to squat double body weight. I front squat over double body weight. But, you do BJJ. You probably don't need a double body weight back squat to be good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You're competing in judo. Well, again, you probably don't need a double body weight back squat to be competitive in judo. It's all contextual. You have to consider what sport you're talking about. Paul Carter pointed out to me, I was happy with this. I deadlifted over 3 times my body weight without even training for it. That's just me randomly testing my deadlift because I do mainly snatches and cleans, right? I pulled over 3 times body weight, and Paul was very quick to let me know that's not even a novice level lift for a powerlifter. And it's like, well, thanks for your input. And he let me know that I'm small and weak and all this shit like that because, 3 times body weight deadlift is absolute crap. But you'll notice that he said for a powerlifter. Well, I'm not a powerlifter. I don't compete in powerlifting. I don't compete in the squat, bench, and deadlift. And I don't sumo deadlift, and really my deadlift is more like a clean. I take a stance like a clean. I'm wearing weightlifting shoes, so I'm not wearing like deadlift slippers, and it's double overhand. And that's 3 times body weight. That's not the same as someone doing a, alternating grip, wide stance, and, sumo style deadlift and deadlift slippers. So like, why would I base my lifts off the standards for a sport that I don't compete in? And then, of course, there are some basic strength standards. If your goal is strength and you're training for strength, like, yes, there are things you should be able to do, like being able to bench press 1.5 times your body weight, being able to overhead press at least your body weight, being able to squat double body weight, being able to deadlift at least 2.5 times your body weight. Like, those are good strength standards, just as general strength standards. And if it upsets you, oh, I can't do that. How old are you? 40, 50, 60? Stop basing your numbers then off of guys who are in their 20s and 30s. I don't know what to say to people when they get upset about standards. Standards are standards for a reason. I don't know what the cutoff is anymore, but I feel like at some point in time, I saw that I think Pitt required a 1450 on your SAT. That's a very reasonable SAT score for a school like that. If you can't meet that standard, then go to a different school. And the same thing goes for strength numbers. Like, if you can't do the 3, 4, 5, pick a different sport. You're not going to be competitive playing pro football. It's not for you. This shouldn't be any different than you considering even height. If you're 5'6", the NBA probably isn't your option. So just something for you to think about. Standards. Yes, standards exist. Standards are good. When you hear a standard, you have to ask yourself, does that apply to you? Standards for whom? Standards for what? What is the sport? What is the context? Because a standard given by itself, just out of the clear blue, it's not all that meaningful, and that makes no sense for you to get upset. Navy SEALs need to run a 1.5 mile run in under 9 minutes. Are you trying to become a Navy SEAL? No? Then you don't need to meet that standard.